I love my HBCU. And boy, I love it, love it. I love it, love it. I love my HBCU. And man, I hope my team they won one. Yeah. I hope my team they won one. Yeah. Man, I hope my team they won one. I hope my team they won one. Yeah. I tune into the HBCU Sports Lab to see if my team won or lost. If they lost, I'm quiet as a mouse. But if they won, keep tab. I'ma do the dab, yeah. Dr. CAVIL, he know what he be talking about. Mike and Charles, they know what they be talking about. They compress the analytic data with this hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they won or lost, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
This is Dr. CAVIL with Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Charles Bishop. We have Kyle Mosley and Dave. How you doing today?
Good evening, guys.
This is Dr. CAVIL's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab.
Hey, how you doing, Doc? How you doing, Charles? How you doing, Dave?
How you doing, Kyle? Man, looking forward to getting into it today. Got a lot of news and notes to get into. Of course, we're coming to you live from Texas Southern University, where things have just kicked off here between Texas Southern and Bethune-Cookman. So looking forward to giving you some updates as we are in this Thursday pantheon of scores around the SWAC with SWAC women's basketball. So we'll be getting into that. But guys, let me check in with you, Kyle. How you doing, brother?
Doing well, man. You know, it's Houston. We don't know what type of weather we're getting tomorrow. It's hot today. But nobody is hotter than the Lady Tigers of the Texas Southern program over there where Burnett Skeet. So you guys are in a great place.
No doubt. Dave, what's going on, bro?
I'm over here in Buffalo, New York. I drove in the snow this morning to get here. I'm here doing college tours with my daughter, and it's very windy here. It's a different type of wind in Buffalo, sir.
I can imagine. My child's up in Syracuse, so
no.
You told me it was 7-degree weather.
I drove past it. Like, I didn't realize how far Buffalo was in Canada until I started routing my trip. And I'm like, oh, we're passing the whole state of New York at this rate. Rochester, Syracuse, Albany. I finally got to Buffalo, and I'm here.
Let's get on it. Let me give official welcome to everybody. Welcome to episode 620 of Inside the HBCU Sports Lab radio show and podcast. The show that's covering the sporting HBCU dash for all things HBCU sports for institutions large and small, from the NAIA to the NCAA. We share information and insights on institutions large and small, from the NAIA to the NCAA. We share all this information, story of HBCU athletic programs, and the business of HBCU sports. In short, we call it the HBCU Sports Pedagogy. I'm your host, Dr. Kenyatta, with my co-host, Charles Bishop. Mike Washington still out on assignment. So we have our two other co-hosts getting it done with Kyle Mosley and none other than Dave Rhodes getting us to it. We have a big interview that we're going to get you going shortly here as we get into it. So we'll keep up our eye on as we have Daryl Wade should be coming in any moment here. But with that being said, as we kind of give the updates, let's give those updates here at H&P Arena, home of the Tigers. We have the women's basketball program playing tonight, as you know, with the Thursday showcase. And the Tigers are up early, 5-2 with 6:20 left in the first quarter. With that being said, Dave is backstage, so let's take our first break. We'll come back on the other side and bring him in correctly so we can get that going. Let's take our first commercial break and come back on the other side.
This is Brian Fulford. A.D. Drew and I are co-hosts of the BCSN Sports Lab. We talk about all things related to HBCU athletics. From the games, teams, coaches, and fan interest stories, we cover it all. You can find our shows on Facebook at BCSN Sports Lab, YouTube at MyJBN Online, and everywhere you listen to podcasts like Anchor, Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcasts. You can also find the show on the Jericho Broadcast Network's app. Make sure to download. We look forward to you joining the conversation and being a part of the show.
Looking for the ultimate cultural experience of 2025? The Zora Outdoor Festival of the Arts is where you need to be. From January 31st to February 2nd, Eatonville, Florida will come alive with incredible live performances from the Levert Experience and the Bar Cave. Immerse yourself in interactive art. Shop from over 80 vendors. Take a journey through history with a new virtual tour app. And enjoy family-friendly STEM activities. Plus, don't miss the unforgettable R&B tribute to the legends, honoring talents such as Whitney Houston, Marvin Gaye, and Luther Vandross. This is more than a festival. It's a celebration of Eatonville's rich cultural heritage. Visit zorafestival.org for tickets.
The human voice has always connected audiences with experiences. Major brands all across America have trusted CAVIL'S voice time and time again. Conversational, powerhouse, intelligent, and sincere. That's the voice you need for your creative marketing process. KEAVERSVOICE.com. CAVIL'S Voice, CAVIL'S Voice, CAVIL'sVoice.com. Always on, all the time.
Hey y'all, it's your girl Sonia from She Say Sports. Make sure to check us out every Friday morning at 9 a.m. on Black College Sports Network, YouTube, and Linktree. And please don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube page.
Compress the analytic data with your hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they wanna lose, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
This is Dr. Bill with Inside the HBCU Sports Lab. We have none other than Daryl Wade. He's the director of the Astros Youth Academy. And much more than that, there's a lot of talents that he brings to the table. We get a chance to talk to him among many things, but we're going to be focused on the Cactus Jack Classic, the HBCU Baseball Classic that many people in Houston are certainly aware of. This year, the Classic will feature, as in the past 2 years, it will feature Texas Southern University, Prairie View A&M University, Southern University, Grambling State University, Jackson State University. But this year we have a 6th team that's coming in, replacing Alcorn State that was involved. This year you get to have and enjoy Alabama A&M University. My wife is an alumni of that university, so she's quite excited about it. With that being said, Daryl Wade, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thank you guys for having me.
Good to have you. Get the accolades out of the way. I know that you're not going to rest on your laurels, but it's my understanding that this is your swan song in some ways, that you're going into retirement. Some of us, like myself, are kind of jealous a little bit because now that makes 2 of us involved here that have did their retirement. I'm sitting next to one and I'm across the screen from the other. So something in life I'm not quite doing right, but I guess hopefully I'll figure it out.
This is my 2nd retirement. You know, I retired from education
That's perfect.
Wow.
15 years ago.
Good stuff, good stuff. So let's start this off a little bit for those that are not aware, because we're going to keep it for 2 segments. So we get a chance to talk about things that you want to talk about in general, specifically the Cactus Jack Classic. That being said, tell us a little bit about yourself in terms of where you grew up, for those that may not know, and some of the how you end up getting into baseball. What is that connection? Where, in a lot of ways, did that start or at least continue?
Yeah, sure. I grew up in Houston. I'm a native Houstonian. Not many of us around, but I'm a native Houstonian. Grew up here. I actually went to elementary school around the corner from Texas Southern University, and I'm going to tell you a little about that here in a second. But my mother was a TSU graduate, but went through high school and college, and played baseball in college at Paul Quinn College when it was in Waco, Texas. It's now in Dallas. I left. I wanted to play football in college, so my plans were to try to walk on at Texas Tech University, and had opportunity to go to a college fair, believe it or not, which we actually have in this tournament. We have a college fair and got offered a engineering scholarship to Prairie View because I had a good few years at Prairie View. I'm sorry, in high school in architecture. So I had that. Thought I could just give away the sports and couldn't. So I decided I'd play baseball. Well, baseball didn't want me in engineering, and engineering didn't want me in baseball. So I ended up at Paul Quinn College. But early in my life, I went to, I was in the first year of integration here in Houston. And all of my friends were going to go to Lanier Middle School, which Dr. CAVIL, I'm sure you know a little about, which it was in the heart of River Oaks, which is probably one of our richest communities in the city of Houston now. So all those African-American kids went over there to school and ended up getting injured playing football. And they told my mom I'd never play sports again in the 7th grade. So I kind of decided, well, if I can't be a play, I want to be a coach, but I didn't want to just be a coach. I wanted to be the top coach. And at the time, Rod Page was the athletic director and head football coach at Texas Southern. My mother being a graduate, we passed by every day. I'd see the football team out there practicing in the afternoon, going home. I said, you know what? I want to be like Dr. Page. I want to be an athletic director. And that was my goal. Around the 10th grade, I was able to play again. So I kind of forgot about that. And now my goal was to play professional baseball, which didn't happen, but I did a few hours away from having a degree. So here I am. I became a coach and a teacher, and later on athletic director. I was athletic director in the Aldine School District here in Houston, and became the athletic director of the largest athletic department in the country, which was Houston ISD. Stayed there 3 years. When those 3 years was up, I had reached my retirement age, and I did retire to go work for my hometown team, for the Houston Astros, and I've done that for 15 years. And I can't look back. I think I had a great career. That's why. People ask why you're retiring. Just because I can. I don't feel like I just feel like this is, it's time for me to do some things. No, Dr. CAVIL knows this, but Aaron Glenn, who's the new head coach for the New York Jets, is my son. Wow. I call him my son. I had him, put him on the first airplane to go on a recruiting visit way back in 1990. So we've been together. I got to go to when he got drafted. I went. I've been, of course, when he played for the Jets, played for the Texas Cowboys. I've been with him and having to go into games, and he's my son. He was inducted to the Texas High School Hall of Fame several years ago. Probably about 1,000 people in the attendance or more, and I'm sitting he had me to stand up, and he introduced everyone that I'm his dad. So that was a great feeling for me and my wife. So he's like our other son.
No doubt about it. I'm glad that you share that with us, which means you got to share it with the listeners. May I ask one more question before I start to share it with everybody? And again, the first segment, talk a little bit about you, particularly with all the work you've done supporting the community, supporting young folks. As we do the kind of sunset thing, we'll do that in a little bit. So we wanted to give you that honor and kind of highlight what you've done. So I want to ask you from this perspective a little bit about, you've got to celebrate quite a bit, the Cactus Jack Classic, bring that along. Obviously the Astros, as they went on the World Series, you've been a part of that. Working as they open up the Youth Academy. Having some folks that went in the first round iterations, a lot of folks have gotten scholarships, but see it go full circle. How has that kind of been to see and experience all that from, in many ways, a very humble beginning?
Man, I just, it's hard to even imagine, the things that I've had the opportunity to be a part of. Aaron Glenn, it's others also. Aaron's in the limelight, but been just fortunate to be, I'm going to call it in the right place at the right time because, we've done a lot. When I was in HISD, we had high school basketball team here in Houston, Yates High School, that won, 3 back-to-back championships, 2 back-to-back, should I say. Took kids to Hawaii to play basketball for free. Nike sponsored us to take Yates, and how that happened was they invited Yates to go, so I had to go to the superintendent to get permission for them to go. And he said, well, they can go, but you got to go with them. which I'm not gonna lie, they want to fly across all that water, but I was not gonna let those kids not have a good time. I've seen opportunities when I've taken kids places. You know the card they give you when you check in the hotel, and you go to your room. I watched one year we were in an embassy suite, and kids didn't know how to get in their room because they never used a key card. What is this for? So I feel like I've given kids a lot of opportunities in my life. I'm just proud of that. Opportunity there as a high school coach and athletic director, and then of course coming to Astros. We opened the academy, and I was at the academy for the grand opening of the academy, representing Houston ISD and the superintendent, and was offered the position standing out there on the mound, actually talking to Michael Bourne, who was another one of my kids from high school. So just been in the right place at the right time. But that was key for me to be able to get into that position. And we have probably over 200 or 300 kids playing college baseball or softball somewhere right now, and that's more fulfilling than anything. Everybody would like to think, oh well, the portion about the kids getting drafted that's great. We had 11 drafted this year. This past year, we had 2 drafted in the first round that came through our program. So a lot of that stuff is great. We're excited about it, but I think getting kids in college is most important to me.
Charles, go ahead with the question.
Yeah, but wait, I don't want to ask this question. I mean, this Cactus Jack Classic has become huge here in Houston, but I want to ask about the origins. How did this come about to get this showcase of HBCU baseball?
Well, Dusty Baker, who was our former, head manager here at the Astros, my staff and I, we go to spring training and work with the team and the coaches to bring back things that we're learning there to our kids here in Houston. So, Dusty kind of took us under his wing, and we would go to dinner with Dusty and things like that. So one night we were talking that, to Dusty, we'd like to have, a college tournament here. And, HBCU tournament. He said, yeah, y'all ought to try to go back and do that. So, which I did. I went back. We had just gotten a new boss. Her name was Paula Harris, who was a champion for anything we try to do, I think. But so we were going to try to have a small college tournament. Speaking of the Wiley colleges and the Jarvis Christian colleges, that was our plan to do because we felt we could afford that financially to get them here and do some things for them to get here. But she said, what about Texas Southern and Prairie View? And I said, well, we put them in. They'll probably beat, these schools pretty bad. It wouldn't be a good tournament. She said, well, why don't we get all big schools? So that's kind of how that started, So we talked to Dr. McClellan, who's a friend of mine, and asked him what he supported, and he did. And we just started making phone calls. We actually went to the first 6 we called, said yes. So that's kind of how we got those 6. So that's how that started. We ended up getting the Cactus Jack sponsorship, which was, we had it paid for through the Astros Foundation. But, of course, when he came in and gave us, the funds he did, we've had about to have 3 great years of baseball.
It's awesome.
Good stuff. With that being said, go ahead, Kyle.
Mr. Wade, thank you for your service and thank you for everything that you've been able to do for young, underserved people who wanted to play baseball, right? But, I mean, that's been a part of your mission and philosophy for such a long time. Where do you see this evolving past your retirement? What's the next stages you hope to see for this event, but also for the academy?
Well, I think the event, we already talked about next year, so we kind of feel like that's going to happen. I would never say I don't care, but because I can't say that because I do care. I want it to go on. When you start something, you want to keep on. I don't know, Dr. Cavill, you remember the Nike basketball tournament we used to have when I was athletic director. That was kind of one of the things that I worked on. I was a high school athletic director to get those teams in here, and it kind of went away after I left. So I'm hopeful that this will not go away. I don't think it will because, we got some people that have won it, and I think it'll keep going. We already host the College Classic, which will be a couple of weeks from now. With, of course, we have all 6 of those teams in the top 25, 5 of those teams in the top 25 in the country. So we're excited about it. So I think it'll go on for sure. The academy, I think it's already making the turn that I think would be great. There's more baseball development now. When I started, we started with kids from 7 to 17 years old, and it was more of teaching them the game of baseball. But baseball has evolved, so many parents are now involved with getting their kids in baseball. I think we're there. We have a situation where we're able to take kids to some major tournaments across the country. The Astros gave us a scout team 2 years ago, so we actually have the Astros scout team that goes through our academy. So that's a big thing. And I think, for the Astros, they've done what it takes, but it's going to take all the teams, I think, in Major League Baseball to kind of do what the Astros are doing, is promoting baseball, and as you said, in underserved communities. And, we're getting our black kids and Hispanic kids to get to play baseball on a top level.
Yeah. One more question.
Hey, let me go to Dave, and then
Okay.
we want to hit these segments and try to get in. I'll come back. I'll make sure you get
I
follow-up question.
You kind of alluded to it with regards to other major league teams. Are there any other Major League Baseball teams that are kind of doing similar initiatives for other HBCUs that's within the area to try to have like another type of classic like the Cactus Jack Classic, so to speak?
Not that I'm aware of. I know that, when I came into the organization, Major League Baseball had an event called the Urban Invitational, which I guess that was 15 years ago. They're playing that, and my first year here, it was going to be hosted here in Houston, and it was we had a rain that week, torrential rains that week, and Mr. Crane, who had just bought the team, said, well, let them come here and play. So we started playing. We played that event in Minute Maid Park at the time. It's now Daikin Park. They're changing the signs today as we speak, so it's a new name. But, yeah, we did that, and of course, I'll be honest with you, when I spoke to Major League Baseball and told them we're doing that, they said, well, we're already doing that. I said, well, no, y'all don't have all HBCUs, because at the time, UCLA and LSU were actually playing in their tournament, and it wasn't giving, all the HBCUs an opportunity. So now Major League Baseball has a tournament called the Andre Dawson tournament, which is a week after ours down in Vero Beach. So other than Major League Baseball, I don't think there's another club doing what we're doing. I know Atlanta has had an event down there with one of two schools playing, but no one is doing this with 6. And we're making a donation to them for their travel. It's a sizable donation, so they can come. That's important for those schools who, of course, football has a decent budget, but baseball doesn't have that budget. We've been able to give them, funds to help take care of their trip here.
All right, we're going to take our second break and come out of the break. I'm going to pass the mic back to Kyle so we can make sure he get his follow-up question in. We'll take this quick break and come back on the other side, get Kyle's question, and then we'll get a little bit more into the Cactus Jack Classic. With that, we'll be right back after this second break. This is the Dean of the College of HBCU Sports, Kenyatta CAVIL of Dr. CAVIL'S Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Come mix it up in the lab where the course lecture is in session every Tuesday from 6 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time on Facebook Live, YouTube Spreaker, or the BCSN app, as we discuss all things about the HBCU sports culture, including exploring the week that was in the sporting HBCU diaspora, as well as the upcoming week of HBCU sports. With me, the Dean, the College of HBCU Sports, on Dr. CAVIL'S Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Course lecture dismissed.
It's like a loop machine. All around town, trying to get down. It's like a loop machine.
You're looking for the latest information on Southern University sports, the Southwestern Athletic Conference, and HBCU athletics. There's only one place to go. Tune in to the Carlos Brown Show, exclusively on the Black College Sports Network.
Looking for the ultimate cultural experience of 2025? The Zora Outdoor Festival of the Arts is where you need to be. From January 31st to February 2nd, Eatonville, Florida will come alive with incredible live performances from the Levert Experience and the Bar Cave. Immerse yourself in interactive art, Shop from over 80 vendors. Take a journey through history with a new virtual tour app. And enjoy family-friendly STEM activities. Plus, don't miss the unforgettable R&B tribute to the legends, honoring talents such as Whitney Houston, Marvin Gaye, and Luther Vandross. This is more than a festival. It's a celebration of Eatonville's rich cultural heritage. Visit zorafestival.org for tickets.
Compress the analytic data with your hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they wanna lose, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
This is Dr. Bill with Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington, who's out on assignment, Charles Bishop, Kyle T. Mosley, and Dave Rose. With that being said, before I go to Kyle for his question, I'm going to give you a quick update on the scores for the women's SWAC.
Yeah, let's take a look at some of these scores around the SWAC. All games are in the second quarter. Southern on top of Alabama State, 18-12. Purview on top of Florida A&M, 25-23. Alcorn on top of Mississippi Valley, 26-20. Pine Bluff on top of Jackson State, 24-21. Here, Texas Southern on top of Bethune-Cookman. That score is 23-18. And then Alabama A&M on top of Grambling, 21-15, as we get ready to move to halftime.
That being said, great update there, Charles. Let's go back to Kyle. Kyle, bring it.
Okay, guys. Mr. Wade, your academy has been tremendous, and you named all the different ways you've been able to help the young people. But before the past couple of seasons, there's been a lot of people really helping more African Americans into baseball, especially Major League Baseball. What can we do more to be able to help identify the talent that's out there that may be getting overlooked through the traditional scouting methods?
Well, I think, getting those kids in these tournaments, where they can play against the other groups of kids that are being looked at, is the best way I can put it. We were able to take our scout team to Arizona to play in their, they call it their fall classic, where, we were the darkest thing there. I mean, that's the way I can put it, but they're playing against others. And so those scouts are seeing us too. It's not going to be easy. We're fortunate, we have the only African-American general manager in Major League Baseball, Dana Brown. Not saying that this is why, Bryce Matthews was drafted, but Dana came to our academy right after he came to Houston, and we have a board in our office where we show all of our kids, that are better kids, the ones in college. And we told them, hey, this kid right here, he's out of our academy, he's in Nebraska, he can play. We just went on and on and on. And I think like 3 weeks later, Bryce was drafted. I know that was a point when no one was really looking at Bryce in our organization. And I sent an email to Jeff Bagwell, who I consider a friend of mine, and I told him about Bryce. And he said he was going to go look at it himself. So I don't know. I don't know if that caused him to get after the young man could play. That's for sure. They were trying to keep it quiet.
It didn't hurt.
Right. I will hold on to that email until I can't anymore. I got a copy of it here at my house, so I am proud of that. Bryce was a good kid, deserved it, and I don't know if it was about me, but I just want to make sure he got his due opportunity. Of course, believe it or not, y'all, we were in Seattle playing in a tournament with our academy, and I was coaching first base, and my assistant Dwayne was coaching third, and he had his phone with the MLB draft, and we knew when we went back on to hit that the Astros were coming up, and all of a sudden he starts hollering and screaming at third base, and I started hollering and screaming because I knew what he was hollering and screaming about, that the Astros had drafted Bryce. Of course, the umpires and the people in the stands thought we'd lost our minds. Then we were screaming across the field to our kids, and our kids went to jumping up and down. So we had to pause the game there for a minute. So that's the good thing about it, man. I think it's just you got to get the kids in front of people and let them play. We've been to the U.S. Olympic trials with our kids years before. I actually took a group several years ago to Florida to play for a week, and Major League Baseball got us in the tournament. And I had the director came to me after we finished third in this tournament of 90 teams. And he came to me, he said he wanted to apologize because when we knew at the time the Urban Youth Academy was coming to play in this tournament, we did not know what to expect. So that's the things. You got to go out there and let people know you can play baseball. You know, football, basketball is great, but our kids can play baseball.
Good point. Charles,
let me kind of follow up on that because I've always wanted to ask, are there things Major League Baseball can do that could be more appealing to African-American players? And I take a look at the Caribbean World Series. I look at how exciting it is. Look at the World Baseball Classic. I mean, it was like a party atmosphere in the stadium. Same thing with Asian baseball. But are there things that Major League Baseball can do to sort of make it more appealing to the youth?
Well, you know, like I said, I got about 40 days left, so I can say some things I want to say right now. But
we call it the KMA club where I'm at, Daryl.
So what I believe, and I've said this for the last 5 or 6 years, that NBA and the NFL, they market their sport for our kids, for our community. I think that's the thing. We got, you mentioned about the Caribbean and the music and the sound. We got to do that. You know, even with this Cactus Jack deal, we have tried to make it as close to an HBCU homecoming as possible because, you know, African Americans, that's what we love. We love homecoming. And so I think the marketing has to do it. And it doesn't help when, you go to the ballpark and you don't see people look like you. You may see them, but they're not African Americans, you know. I remember, growing up when I was in college and had teams talking to me and my parents about playing. I had an uncle who actually just he's 80 years old this next Friday. I went over to visit with him this afternoon. Dr. Will, I was almost late because I was talking to him and forgot I had to be over here. But, he told me, don't talk to the Astros. They don't have any black players on it. That was 1980s and 80s, you know. And honestly, it was the truth, you know. But, I think that has changed now. I truly think that has changed. It's getting ready to change. So that's the issue. You know, you got to have people that are going to get in. We had Mike Moore. Mike Moore is another kid that I had in high school. He got drafted by the Astros, I think, out of college, but didn't sign with the University of Houston and ended up going to Philadelphia and then getting back to Houston. Just got to give him a chance.
Yeah, I love it. Dave, go ahead.
Yeah, it's fascinating when you talk about the appeal of the league because I know my generation was probably the generation where they started dwindling away from baseball. Like my dad, my father loved baseball. I watched it occasionally. I love playoff baseball, and I still do. Like when the playoffs start, I'm in because it's so intense. Same goes for college as well. So I don't really have too much of a question. I just want to thank you again for your service, and hopefully you enjoy retirement. Hopefully you don't have a third retirement. You actually enjoyed this one, all right? Because I don't believe in retiring more than once. So.
Hey, don't say that. I'm gonna put him back to work. I got a couple of projects for him. Now, maybe it will be like retirement to be like almost like the wise under do list because I ain't got a big budget, so he gonna be doing it for reduced rate. So maybe we'll
reduce labor, reduce pay and labor.
I'm open to anything, man. Like I said, I'm retiring because I can. I just mean it that way. You know, my mom passed away last November, and I went through a lot of stress with my mom. My dad both passed away in 23. So I went through a lot of different stresses and things like that. So I'm at a point where, I want to enjoy life, but I'm not going to close the door on many things. Always listen for sure. But again, I appreciate, Dave, that you saying that. But I'm excited. I love what I've done in my career. I mean, I'm not a guy that Coach CAVIL knows me more than anybody. I don't blow my own horn well. But I am very proud of the kids that I have been around in my life. And I tell kids, I want you to be major league citizens. And that's what I really mean. I'm so proud of Aaron Glenn. You probably heard it because I mentioned his name probably about 5 or 6 times now. But
Rightfully
You know,
so.
I'm proud of the kid that has, and I had some that have been to the penitentiary and they've come back and got their lives together. I'm proud of all of them. You know, so it takes all kind of kids to make our world. And I think, you know, we actually were at Texas Southern yesterday. We did a symposium because we're trying to help African American kids get into the front office of baseball. I think I even mentioned this yesterday. I think if you looked around in Major League Baseball, we probably have more African Americans in our front office than any other team, African Americans and Hispanics on our, you know, our senior vice president of the foundation, African American, you know, the senior VP of communications, African American, HR, African American. You know, I count myself in there, several people. We hired, I think, 30 interns from Texas Southern University last year, you know, and these are paid interns. So I think the Astros are doing their job to try to help, you know, kids. Every kid like myself, I wanted to play professional baseball. It didn't happen. But now I'm in Major League Baseball. And I tell people all the time, I have 2 World Series rings, the same ring Jose Altuve.
With
Doc?
Yeah, with that being said, let's ask this final question in regards to give us some of the things that's going around the Cactus Jack Classic. Tell us some of the events we missed if we didn't get that information out there. And particularly how folks can get tickets.
Yeah, first of all, get tickets for this event. I'll start at Astros.com.
Freezing up a little bit there, so we'll see if we can get it back.
Yeah.
He's talking about that. You have the Cactus Jack HB Classic. One thing we need to make sure we know that it starts next week. That's February 14th through the 16th. That's Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. That's at Daikin Parks. You can go to MLB.com, get all your information about the happy hour, college fair, gospel breakfast, celebrity softball classic, and the vendors. You certainly can go there or Astros to get your tickets. With that being said, Daryl, you were moving out, so I'm going to go back to you and share some additional. I just kind of did an overlay.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on, but it's actually, you said MLB.com, it's Astros.com/HBCU Classic.
Yeah. As we continue to go there, pause again. Again, that's when I said MajorLeagueBaseball.com, you can go see the information, but to go get your tickets, go to Astros.com. Again, that's February 14th through the 16th, 2025, Daikin Park, formerly known Minute Maid Park. We're going to get it out there. That's out there close to Prairie. We're talking about that. The big weekend is interesting for Saturday because it's set up for rivalries. And you'll have the Southern Grambling rivalry, Prairie View, Texas Southern rivalry. But you'll have all these games, 3 games a day. That's Friday, Saturday, and Sunday with a lot of activities there. You can go on there and get your tickets if you want suites. They have suites available for those that want to get suites and live the highlights. It's a good thing. That's what I'm used to when I hang around this guy here. You know, he kind of takes care of about the suites. So I had to put it out there. But some folks do it like that. Go ahead, Daryl.
And I think, you know, one of the things we've done is we've given each college president a suite for the weekend.
Oh, nice. Let me call a couple of these presidents.
You got connects that we ain't got, Doc.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't have to worry about it now. I'll just go work with them.
So that's, you know, that's how serious we are. We want it to be supported.
Yeah, I like that. That's certainly.
That's great.
And Mr. Wade, do you guys have any connection or do you guys partner with Ken Griffey and his events as well?
Yeah, I think he's
frozen again.
Okay.
I'm going to try to get on the phone and sit down. I'm going to try to phone and sit down.
We're going to take this last break, but the question that Kyle had, was there any connections with the Swingman Classic that King Griffey is putting together?
That came after us. That was, I think, one of the things that, because we support them all because it's helping our kids, but that came after us. We really have no. I'll be honest with you, a lot of things that the Speak Man does that promotes the game, and so we've tried to do some things that they do, especially with the music and the presentation they put out. Yeah, we definitely try to do that. Our kids, we taking our kids to that every year. It's been there, and they get to go free. So that's that's a great opportunity for kids to be seen, especially in an all-star type of setting.
Well, we'll get you out of here. This is our last break. We'll let Charles get some updates here, and then we'll go as things are getting to halftime and some halftimes. We'll let you out on this one, Daryl. We'll certainly look forward to catching up with you regular, but we'll be out there next week.
We're good. Look forward to seeing you.
All right.
Yeah, as we go to break, some scores around the SWAC. Southern on top of Alabama State, 21-18 at halftime. Purview on top of FAMU, it scores 30-28. Alcorn on top of Mississippi Valley, 34-30. Jackson State on top of Arkansas Pine Bluff, 30-29. Here at HBCU is tied up 30-30 as we go into halftime. And Grambling on top of Alabama A&M with about 3 minutes and some change before halftime.
Again, Daryl, thanks for giving us some update. Great information. We'll take this last break. We'll come back on the other side and we'll close out the show. Thanks, Daryl.
Thanks.
Looking for the ultimate cultural experience of 2025? The Zora Outdoor Festival of the Arts is where you need to be. From January 31st to February 2nd, Eatonville, Florida will come alive with incredible live performances from the Levert Experience and the Bar Cave. Immerse yourself in interactive art. Shop from over 80 vendors. Take a journey through history with a new virtual tour app. And enjoy family-friendly STEM activities. Plus, don't miss the unforgettable R&B tribute to the legends, honoring talents such as Whitney Houston, Marvin Gaye, and Luther Vandross. This is more than a festival. It's a celebration of Eatonville's rich cultural heritage. Visit zorafestival.org for tickets.
Hey y'all, it's your girl Sonia from She Say Sports. Make sure to check us out every Friday morning at 9 a.m. on Black College Sports Network, YouTube, and Linktree. And please don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube page.
Morehouse College and Tuskegee University men's basketball teams were selected to compete in the 2025 NBA HBCU Classic presented by AT&T. The fourth annual NBA HBCU Classic will be played in the Bay Area as part of NBA All-Star 2025 and will once again celebrate the rich traditions, on-court athleticism, and commitment to excellence of the HBCU community. For tickets, visit NBA.com/All-Star.
Compress the analytic data with your hip-hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they wanna lose, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
This is Dr. Bills inside the HBCU Sports Lab. Thank you for getting a great interview there. Daryl, any additional information you want to share with us? Since we got you a little
No, not at all. Not really at all. We'd like to get the people in the Houston area for sure to come out and go to astros.com/HBCU Classic and get your tickets. Like I said earlier, $10, you get 3 games a day. Great atmosphere. The weather in Houston is going to be in the 70s, I see, next week. We endured the 40s and 50s for 2 years, so we're going to have something similar to baseball weather next week, hopefully. Again, thanks, Dr. CAVIL, for always being supportive of you, all you guys, for what you do for HBCU sports. I'm very fortunate to have 2 degrees from 2 HBCUs, so
Let them know. Tell them what they are. No power play, Prairie View. You let these folks know what you represent.
Oh man, I know he wants to brag about him, and I don't blame him.
Oh yeah, I know he called it.
I know he brag about him.
That's what's going on there. With that being said, if he's able to get back, we'll let him show out as the AD. We'll talk a little bit of basketball. But I want to go around and ask everybody, what are some big games that you're looking for this weekend in terms of whether it's the Independence, MEAC, SWAC, you can dive into CIAA, SIAC. Daryl, I'm going to let you show some of your AD so you can get in this conversation because I know you know more than just baseball. That's what you do, where you put your passion. But if you want to get in here on some of this talk on these other sports, you can do that too and show out a little bit. Some things maybe you're going to do as you go into retirement. Charles, what's some big games you're looking at this weekend?
I think one that that's going to catch my eye is Southern at Alabama A&M on Saturday. I think when you talk about teams that are trying to keep pace with Texas Southern, you got Jackson State, Southern, and Alabama A&M all sitting at 7-2 right behind Texas Southern. So intriguing games. And FAMU, they come here to the HBNE on Saturday, so that should be an intriguing game as well. You got a tiered team, 7-2, then a bunch of teams sitting at 4-2.
Good stuff. Kyle, what direction are you going to? What's some big games that have your interest coming into the weekend?
Well, I think you have to go over to the MEAC where Spartans just came off that thrilling win with the buzzer beater. They get to rest all week, so they're not going to be beating up on their opponents in the MEAC. But you still have Howard that's going to take on NCCU. That's going to be a big one. Then you have the North Carolina A&T guys going against Campbell. But one that I like in the CIAA is Johnson C. Smith going against Winston-Salem. That's always a great rivalry to have there.
I like it. Good job. Way to get some CIAA basketball in there. Dave, what about you? What are your thoughts?
I'm going to go to Winston. Currently still looking for their loser's first CAA title, and it looks like the ladies might be able to pull it off. Going up against the College of Charleston this weekend. They swept us last season. So I think they want some get back. This is the third season in a row that the Lady Aggies have started 8-1 in the CAA since they've been in the conference. So hopefully they'll be able to close it out and finally get that regular season championship this year. But they got to get past College of Charleston. It's going to be in Club Orbit. We had over 4,500 folks there. We played Hampton last week. So I'm hoping for a big crowd so we can play College of Charleston this weekend.
Good job. Way to get those Aggies in, play this basketball. They represent the right way. I like it. That's how you're supposed to do it. I mean, because right now they're playing some good basketball. They have the top 5. Daryl, again, I'm gonna let you show out a little bit. What direction you want to go? What's hot? What outside of baseball? Where do you have a little bit of your interest when you look at HBCU basketball?
I'll be honest with you. I'm a Houston guy. So I think Texas Southern going to have a great opportunity in basketball. You know, it's not a good thing maybe to say for Prairie View, but I'm going to go to Prairie View now because they'll do better in football. He and I went to the same high school. He's a lot younger than me, so I'm definitely going to pull for the Panthers.
Good stuff. See, I told you can show out.
There it is.
This is what I'm going to do before we close out. I'm going to give a couple of highlights, especially since Kyle did his thing. When you talk about women's basketball in the CIAA, you have the tournament coming up in a couple of weeks. When you talk about it's going to be March 1st, then you have the SIAC coming on after that. It's March 8th. Then you get into the SWAC and the MEAC. So when you talk about CIAA, Northern Division, you have Virginia State at 9-2. They're tied with Bowie State. So that looks like it's going down the stretch. As you talked about some key matchups, Kyle. When you look at the Southern Division, you have Fayetteville State sitting at 8-3. Livingstone is behind them at 7-5. 2 on the loss column. So interesting when you talk about those matchups. Give you some updates in terms of that side. You got the SIAC, things are pretty crowded there as well. When things take place, so it's interesting to kind of see what that looks like. As you see the Ocean of Soul doing that thing and showing out in the background a little bit.
Yeah, that's an understatement.
Yeah, a lot.
They out here rocking it back there, man.
Yeah, Dr. Simmons has them going, man.
Oh my goodness.
Hey, Let's talk about this. There's a
we're in the suites. You talk about the suites yesterday, and we're still in the suites in this skill. So imagine if you're courtside. You're like, wow, okay, this is how y'all do it.
They out there cranking, man. They cranking out there.
So to give a little bit of updates and how things are going there. On the
hey, Doc.
Yeah.
Can you hear me? One conference that we really need to be paying attention to, and they're up and coming.
HBCU
AC. Yeah, and their tournament is coming out as well. But you look at what Virgin Islands are going to host Philander. Fisk is going to be taking on Global Force tonight. And then you have Wiley College hosting HUDDLE. These are great story programs that a lot of people have overlooked. But what Dr. Kiki Barnes has done is really risen that profile of that conference, and congratulations to her and what she's been able to do to expand the viewership of that conference as well.
Good stuff. Appreciate that, Kyle. Make sure you get it in. I know exactly where you're going. On the mid side for the CIAA, you have Lincoln, Pennsylvania. They're solid at 10-1. The next closest team has 2 losses and 82. So on the loss side, they went right behind them, which is none other than Virginia State. It'll be interesting to see what that looks like. But they look at it in the division. Lincoln, Pennsylvania sits at 4-1. But Virginia State is just into from Fast State there. On the Southern Division, you have Fayetteville State at 9-3. They're 7-0, so they're really in a good position. Close team behind them is Clapton at 4-2. So that's Fast State that you talk about what that looks like. In CIAA, give you some standards there on the women's side. Clark Atlanta on the East is holding things down. They're 16-5. 9-3 in terms of the conference race. Behind them is Allen at 7-4. You go to the West Division, Miles, the Trojan at 13-5, 10-3 in the division, but Tuskegee is right behind them at 9-4, 12-8 overall in the conference race. That'll do it in terms of women's basketball. On the men's side for basketball, fascinating. We talk about what's going on there and stands, give you an update. As things got interesting, Clark Atlanta was controlling things for a while, but it's turned around over the last week.
Started to bunch up.
Yeah, we told you to keep your eyes on it. You have Albany State that's at the top now at 11-3. They're tied with Edward Waters, Clark, and Atlanta are tied behind them at 9-4 apiece. So fascinating when you talk about the division overall. Fascinating on those as well. In the West, Miles is solid there at 13-1. Closest team behind him is Tuskegee at 8-6. So they got that mixed up. Oddly enough, when Miles played Clark Atlanta, though, Clark Atlanta got him. Yeah. But when you get in the tournament, that's going to be kind of interesting there. So a little bit about what's going on there. Any last thoughts that you have, Kyle?
Well, looks like this 30-30 tie that we have at halftime between the Lady Tigers and the Wildcats is pretty interesting. I'm looking at the Texas Southern is 0.7% in their field goal. That's really under their average. But what's interesting is the fact that Bethune-Cookman, they've already put up 40 shots in the game. And that's what's really helping them to keep pace with Texas Southern. Texas Southern usually has more shots than their opponents, and they're hitting on their three-pointers versus what Texas Southern is doing. So, but still, Texas Southern has great defensive rebounding at 22 compared to 10, and 4 offensive rebounds compared to 8. So we'll see how this goes the next 40 minutes. 20 minutes. So we'll see what's going to happen there. But it's, I said earlier, beware of the Wildcats. If there's anybody who's upset-minded, the Bethune-Cookman faithful know they have that potential.
They had a big second quarter because they jumped at them early and then they allowed them to kind of sneak around to your point and they got hot. Dave, any last thoughts before we close?
I'm just sitting here. Folks are updating the A&T College of Charleston score because the men are playing on CBS Sports Network right now tonight, and I'm not happy with the score I just saw. So I'm hoping, with what's been going on with the men's basketball program, that's the biggest concern I have right now. I'm hoping they can get it done. They are playing better, which is good.
Yeah, I mean, a couple of head turners here at halftime, of course, but don't cover the Texas Southern Tide. Keep an eye on Grambling on top of Alabama A&M. They're on the road. They're making Alabama swing this weekend. So keeping an eye on that one. And then battle two teams on the hill. Florida A&M on top of Prairie right now, 37-32.
With that being said, thank you for listening to Inside the HBCU Sports Lab. Make sure you share your podcast with your friends and colleagues. I am Dr. Kenyatta, the Dean of HBCU Sports, coming from inside the lab in the College of HBCU Sports with Mike Washington, Charles Bishop, none other than Kyle T. Mosley, David Rose giving you some updates, and make sure you check him out and his show as he does the Independent Report on Wednesday. Make sure you go check out Kyle Mosley. The website give you all the updates, and they do the podcast as well. And you want to get some interesting takes and some views, you're missing out if you're not catching up with Kyle T. Mosley. My friend there gets it done in so many different ways. With that being said, again, we want to thank you for listening to Dr. Bill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington, Charles Bishop, every Tuesday and Thursday at 6 o'clock Central Standard Time. Fascinating weekend. We'll get into it. Follow me, Dr. Kenyatta Cavil. That's DrKenyattacavil on Facebook and Instagram. Inside the HBCU Sports Lab on YouTube and Facebook. Dream big. Continue to move forward. We will talk with you soon. Charles, of course. Dave.
Lecture.
Kyle.
We done?
Dismissed.
Dismissed, guys.